Part 1. The invisible force within you. There's a hidden force at work in every man and woman who rises from ordinary beginnings to extraordinary success. You can't see it, yet you can feel it. You can't buy it, but you can build it. Some call it charisma, others call it luck, but the truth is far more powerful. It is the invisible magnet inside you. When I first discovered this force, I realized why some people seem to walk through life as though doors are already opened for them. Strangers trust them. Opportunities chase them. Money and success flow in their direction. And then there are others, just as talented, who push and grind and hustle, yet still find themselves locked out, exhausted, and frustrated. Why is that? Let me tell you a story. The baker who never advertised. Years ago, in a small American town, there was a man who ran a little bakery. His shop was modest: old brick walls, wooden shelves, a bell that jingled every time the door opened. He never hung banners outside. He didn't call people in from the street. In fact, he spent very little time thinking about customers at all. And yet, every morning, before the sun was even high, a line of people wrapped around the block, waiting for his bread. You might think it was because he used a secret recipe. But the truth was simpler than that. His bread carried something of him: his patience, his care, his pride. Every loaf was a reflection of the man who made it. People weren't just buying bread. They were drawn to the presence of someone who poured his whole heart into his work. That's the invisible force I'm talking about. He didn't chase. He attracted. Success is not a hunt in America. We are taught to chase success, run faster, grind harder, compete more ruthlessly. But chasing rarely brings the reward you seek. In fact, the harder you chase, the farther success seems to run. The people who rise the highest don't chase harder than the rest of us. They transform who they are at the core. They become people who naturally pull opportunity into their lives, like a magnet pulling iron. Think about it. A tree doesn't beg for sunshine. It doesn't chase the rain. It simply grows strong roots, stretches toward the sky, and by its very nature, receives all it needs to flourish. The rain finds it. The sun shines upon it. You, too, can become like that tree. Building inner magnetism. How do you begin? You don't start by begging others for a break. You don't start by chasing every shiny opportunity. You start with the smallest promises you make to yourself. If you say you'll wake up early, do it. If you promise to read 10 minutes a day, follow through. If you decide to speak kindly to someone, honor that decision. Each small act of integrity builds your foundation. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, you grow stronger inside. This strength becomes visible to others, even if they don't realize why. They notice it. The voice in your head, how you speak to yourself, becomes the tone that others hear in your presence. If you treat yourself with respect, people sense it. They respond in kind. Little by little, you are shaping the kind of person success is drawn toward. The compass of clear intentions. But there is another secret, one even more powerful than discipline alone. And it is this: the compass of clear intentions. You've seen the difference between those who wander and those who walk with purpose. Some people wake up each day with fire in their heart. They know where they're headed. Their decisions are sharp, their energy directed. And then there are others, always busy, always in motion, yet never truly moving forward. The difference is having a compass. Without a compass, a ship captain may spend his days adjusting sails, steering the wheel, working with all his strength. But without direction, all his effort leads nowhere, only circles in the endless sea. Life without intention works the same way. You may stay late at the office, take on extra projects, and earn a promotion. But what if you've been climbing the wrong ladder? What if you've been working for goals that don't belong to you? The woman who climbed the wrong mountain. I once knew a young woman who did just that. She gave everything to her career: long hours, endless sacrifices, a relentless climb. And finally, one day, she reached the top. She had the title. She had the salary. She had the view from the peak. But when she stood there, she felt hollow. Because it wasn't her mountain. It was the one her family and community told her to climb. She had been so focused on the climb that she forgot to ask the most important question: is this even the right mountain for me? How many people in America live like this, chasing someone else's dream, pursuing what looks impressive to others but feels empty inside? Napoleon Hill once said, "A definite chief aim is the starting point of all achievement. Without it, your energy scatters. With it, you become unstoppable. Discovering your true intentions. Your compass begins with honest reflection. You must ask, what do I value most? When everything else is stripped away, what would I pursue if I knew I couldn't fail? What kind of person do I want to become? What legacy do I wish to leave behind? These aren't questions you answer in a rush. They require stillness, time, honesty. And once you begin to uncover them, something shifts. Your actions gain meaning. Your presence grows stronger. Your magnetism expands. The world rewards those who live with intention, not because they demand it, but because their clarity naturally draws people, opportunities, and resources toward them. A glimpse ahead. This is only the beginning. In the chapters to come, you will discover how to sharpen this compass, how to cultivate unshakable belief, how to build influence without forcing it, and how to walk through life as a natural attractor of success. Because once you master this transformation, success will no longer be something you chase. It will be something that finds you. Backhand index pointing right, and that brings us to the next part. How to set your compass so true that every step you take pulls you closer to your destiny. That's part 1, 1000. Words in Napoleon Hill, style storytelling. Would you like me to continue with part 2 right away, keeping the same structure, or do you want me to send you all 6 parts together in one flow? Part 2, the compass of clear intentions. There comes a time in every person's life when they pause, look around, and wonder, how did I get here? They've been running, working, grinding, keeping busy every single day, and yet something feels off. It's like rowing a boat with all your strength but realizing the boat has been going in circles. The truth is this: hard work without direction is wasted effort. Napoleon Hill once wrote that a definite chief aim is the starting point of all achievement. Without it, all the sweat, sacrifice, and long nights amount to little more than motion without progress. That's why you need a compass. Not made of glass and steel, but of your intentions. A compass that points you toward who you truly are and where you really want to go. Let me tell you a story. The woman who climbed the wrong mountain. I once met a young woman named Sarah. From the outside, her life looked like the American dream. She had the job, the promotion, the shiny title on her office door. She stayed late every night, answered every call, volunteered for every extra project. People said she was going places. And she was. But one day, when she finally reached the promotion she had sacrificed so much for, she felt something unexpected, hollow, empty. You see, Sarah had been climbing a mountain, but it wasn't her mountain. It was the one her parents expected of her. The one her friends admired. The one society applauded. But when she stood at the top, she realized she had spent years chasing a dream that wasn't her own. That's the danger of living without a compass of clear intentions. You can run at full speed, climb as high as you can, and still end up in the wrong place, writing down your true north. So how do you find your compass? Start simply. Take a walk in nature, or sit quietly in a peaceful spot. Let your mind breathe. Let it wander beyond deadlines, bills, and obligations. Ask yourself, what truly matters to me? What kind of person do I want to become? What legacy do I want to leave behind? Then, and this part is vital, write your answers down. There's a strange power in putting thoughts on paper. When you write, the invisible becomes visible. What was once a cloud of scattered feelings becomes clear sentences you can hold in your hand. Writing carves out the fog and leaves behind direction. Don't dismiss your intentions if they seem small or ordinary. Perhaps your purpose is to be a loving parent, or to create something beautiful with your hands, or to be the kind of neighbor people can count on when life gets tough. These may not impress everyone else, but if they come from your heart, they are exactly right. Remember, your compass is not for applause. It's for guidance. Using your compass daily. Once you know your compass, the next step is to use it. Before you take on a new project, ask, does this align with my intentions? Before you say yes to a new commitment, pause. Will this move me closer to or farther from who I want to become? Even small choices matter. That hour in front of the television, does it move you toward your true north, or does it pull you away? That evening spent with someone who drains you, does it fit your compass, or is it a detour? At first, saying no feels uncomfortable. If you've spent years trying to please others, you may feel guilty when you turn something down. But every no to what doesn't fit is also a yes to what does. Each decision aligned with your compass makes your path clearer and your steps lighter. And here's the beauty: you don't need to get it perfect. Your compass may shift slightly as you grow. That's natural. The key is to keep checking in, reviewing, refining. The important part is not rigid perfection but steady alignment with what matters most. The blacksmith's lesson. Let me share another story. There was a blacksmith in a small Midwestern town who was known not only for his strong arms, but for his strong character. People admired him not just for the tools he forged but for the wisdom he carried. One day, a young man came to him, frustrated with his life. He had tried many jobs, pursued different paths, but nothing seemed to stick. He felt lost. The blacksmith listened, then handed the young man a glowing piece of iron. "Strike it," he said. The young man pounded, again and again, but the metal bent in random shapes. "No," said the blacksmith. "Decide what you want it to be before you strike." When the young man pictured a horseshoe in his mind and struck with intention, the iron slowly took shape. The blacksmith smiled. "That's your life. If you strike without intention, all your effort bends you into random shapes. But if you strike with purpose, your energy creates something useful, something true. Fire in the heart. This is what having a compass gives you. Fire in the heart. Even when life throws storms at you, you know why you're standing strong. Even when challenges come, you know what you're fighting for. With your compass in hand, every step has meaning. Even setbacks become part of the journey, not wasted effort. You stop wandering aimlessly and begin walking intentionally toward a life that belongs to you. Napoleon Hill believed that clarity of purpose transforms ordinary people into extraordinary achievers. It is not the size of your dream that matters, but the certainty with which you pursue it. A glimpse toward resilience. But make no mistake, even with a compass, the journey won't always be smooth. There will be storms. There will be setbacks. And the question is not if, but when they will come. The real test of greatness is not whether you avoid hardship, but how you rise when hardship strikes. In the next part, we will uncover the secret of resilience, the quiet strength that bends but does not break, the hidden power that turns pain into progress. Because once you master resilience, nothing, not failure, not rejection, not even disaster, can keep you from reaching your destiny. Backhand index pointing right. Coming up in part 3, planting seeds of resilience. That's part 2 rewritten, 1,000 words, in Napoleon Hill's story-driven style. Would you like me to go ahead and write part 3, resilience, now, keeping this exact storytelling flow? Part 3, the seeds of resilience. There's a quiet truth about life that most people overlook. It isn't the grand moments, the big break, the sudden success, the one lucky opportunity, that shape who we become. No, it's the daily drops. The small decisions, repeated again and again, that carve the riverbed of our future. Think about it. One drop of water does nothing. But millions of drops, flowing persistently in the same direction, can cut through rock and reshape mountains. Your choices work the same way. Every action, no matter how small, carries the power to shape the person you are becoming. Let me tell you a story. The Young Apprentice. There was once a young man named Daniel who dreamed of becoming a master woodworker. When he first walked into a master craftsman's shop, he was overwhelmed. The furniture there was breathtaking, tables polished like glass, chairs carved with intricate designs that seemed alive. Daniel compared his clumsy hands to the master's skill and felt the gap was impossible to cross. Still, Daniel made a decision. Each day, no matter how discouraged he felt, he would spend 1 hour practicing a single technique. At first, his cuts were rough. His joints didn't fit. His carvings looked like the work of a child. Some days he thought about quitting. Some days he whispered to himself, "What's the point? I'll never be that good." But he kept showing up, day after day, month after month, year after year, and something remarkable happened. Slowly, his hands grew steadier. His eye became sharper. His movements grew natural. What once felt awkward became effortless. Years later, Daniel became a master himself. His work was sought after. His students gathered to learn from him. He had achieved the dream that once felt unreachable. Meanwhile, others who had shared his dream were still waiting for the perfect time to begin. They wanted the big break, the shortcut, the moment of certainty. But years passed, and they remained where they started, full of excuses, but empty of progress. Daniel discovered a secret most people never learn. Excellence is not a destination. It's a habit. Mastery is not reached in one giant leap, but in thousands of steady steps. Small choices, big impact. This is how resilience is built, not through dramatic gestures, but through quiet consistency. If you want to become a writer, don't wait until you have the perfect idea. Write one paragraph each day. If you want to be healthier, don't wait until Monday to start a diet. Take a 10-minute walk today. If you want to be kinder, don't wait until you're in the mood. Offer one genuine compliment before the sun sets. At first, these actions feel small, almost laughable compared to the size of your dream. But here's the truth. Small steps repeated daily become unstoppable momentum. It's better to practice 15 minutes every day than to cram 5 hours once a week. The daily rhythm creates grooves in your life. It turns action into habit. It builds a foundation so strong that quitting becomes harder than continuing. That's the secret of resilience. It isn't about dramatic strength in one moment, but quiet strength over many. The farmer's patience. Think about a farmer. When he plants seeds in spring, he doesn't run out to the field the next day demanding fruit. He knows growth takes time. He trusts the process. He waters, he weeds, he waits. You and I must do the same. When we practice daily resilience, we may not see results right away. But that doesn't mean nothing is happening. The roots are spreading underground, invisible but real. The mighty oak tree begins as a tiny acorn. The pianist who fills a concert hall once stumbled over simple scales. The business leader once served a single customer with care. Never despise small beginnings. They are the foundation of greatness. The courage to begin. But here's the catch. None of this matters if you don't start, and starting takes courage. Most people wait. They wait until they feel ready. They wait until the conditions are perfect. They wait until they have every answer. But waiting is a trap. The perfect moment never comes. I once asked an old farmer how he decided when to plant. He laughed and said, "If I waited for perfect weather, I'd starve. I plant when the season is right, and I trust myself to handle what comes." That's life. You can't wait for certainty. You plant when it's time, even if storms may come. Courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is feeling fear and moving forward anyway. It's saying, "I don't know the whole path, but I can take the next step." Dreams that remain locked in your head are powerless. They can't change your life or anyone else's. But when you take action, even imperfect action, you breathe life into your dream. It begins to grow, to evolve, to touch others in ways you never imagined. Becoming an example. When you live this way, something unexpected happens. Others begin to notice. Your quiet daily steps inspire those around you. Your resilience becomes a light for others still trapped in hesitation. One day, you'll look back and realize that your small daily decisions didn't just change your results. They changed you. Resilience shaped your character. Courage unlocked your potential. Persistence carried you forward. The mountain of your dreams didn't move all at once. It moved one stone at a time, carried away by the steady current of your choices. This is how ordinary people create extraordinary lives. Not through a single moment of heroism, but through the quiet heroism of choosing well, again and again, day after day. A glimpse toward part 4. But there's one more piece to this puzzle. Even when you have resilience, even when you begin with courage, life will test you with distractions, temptations, and competing paths. And in those moments, one skill will determine whether you stay the course or lose your way. Focus. In part 4, we will uncover how to sharpen your focus like a blade, how to block out the noise of the world, and how to keep your eyes fixed on the horizon of your true purpose. Because resilience may keep you standing, but focus will keep you moving forward. Backhand index pointing right. Coming up in part 4, the power of focus. That's your part 3, 1,000 words, in a flowing Napoleon Hill style story form. Do you want me to continue and expand directly into part 4, focus, next, so you'll have a seamless continuation? Part 4. The power of focus. There's a hidden thief that robs more people of success than failure ever could. It's not laziness. And it's not lack of talent. It's distraction. Distraction looks harmless. It whispers, "Check this first," or "Do a little of that too." But over time, it scatters your energy like sunlight spread across 1,000 directions. Warm, maybe, but never powerful enough to burn through steel. Focused energy, on the other hand, is like a magnifying glass. Concentrated, it can ignite fire. Directed, it can cut through anything in its path. Let me tell you a story. The young archer. Years ago, there was a boy named Samuel who wanted to become a great archer. His dream was to strike the bullseye every time, like the masters he admired. But whenever he practiced, his arrows scattered across the target, some high, some low, most missing altogether. One afternoon, his teacher stopped him and said, "Samuel, your problem is not your bow, nor your arrows. It's your mind. Your eyes see too much. You notice the trees, the clouds, the birds, even the people walking by. Until your eye sees only the bullseye, your arrow will never strike it." Samuel took this advice to heart. He began training, not just his hands, but his attention. Each day, he would close his eyes, breathe, and visualize the center of the target until it filled his mind completely. Only then would he shoot. Months later, his arrows began to group tighter and tighter. One day, he struck the bullseye dead center. Then again. And again. The secret wasn't stronger arms or better arrows. It was the ability to focus on one thing until everything else faded away. Why most people fail? Most people don't fail because they aim too high. They fail because they split their energy in too many directions. They start one project, then abandon it halfway for a new idea. They chase one opportunity, then drop it when another looks shinier. Their days are full of motion, but their lives lack progress. It's like a ship that changes direction every hour. No matter how fast it sails, it never reaches a destination. Napoleon Hill once wrote, "The successful man makes up his mind where he is going, then sticks to it." That's the compass of focus. Without it, you become a wanderer on the sea of life, busy but lost. The businessman's choice. I once knew a small-town businessman named Henry. He was clever, ambitious, and full of ideas. At first, he opened a shoe store. A year later, he added a bakery. A few months after that, he started a car repair shop. Each venture began with excitement, but none lasted long. He was always too busy running from one thing to another, never giving full devotion to any. Eventually, all three businesses failed, and Henry was left exhausted and broke. Across the street lived another man, Thomas, who owned a small grocery shop. Unlike Henry, Thomas kept his focus steady. While Henry chased opportunities, Thomas spent 20 years improving his single store. He learned every customer by name. He found ways to stock better goods, keep his prices fair, and treat people kindly. Today, Henry is forgotten. But Thomas's store became the heart of the town, later growing into a chain of markets. The difference wasn't talent. It was focus. The compass of clear intentions. So how do you build focus in your own life? It begins with a compass of clear intentions. You must know what truly matters to you. Otherwise, every distraction looks tempting. Ask yourself, what am I building my life toward? What is the one thing I must give my best energy to right now? If I succeed at this, will it make everything else easier or unnecessary? Once you know, you must protect that intention fiercely. Say no to distractions, even when they look like good opportunities. A good opportunity that pulls you away from your true path is not good at all. It's poison disguised as honey. The musician's lesson. There was once a young musician who dreamed of mastering the violin. At first, he practiced an hour a day, then 2, then 3. But after a while, his friends teased him. "Why do you waste your life on one instrument? Try the guitar, the drums, the piano. Be well-rounded." He listened to them and divided his attention among many instruments. Soon, he could play a little of everything, but none well. Audiences were polite, but no one was moved by his music. One evening, an old maestro heard him play and shook his head. "My boy," he said, "the world does not reward the man who knows a little of everything, but the one who knows a great deal about one thing. Go back to the violin. Pour yourself into it until the strings sing with your soul." The boy obeyed. For years, he gave himself fully to the violin. His music grew so powerful that when he played, people wept. He became world-renowned, not because he did many things, but because he mastered one. Focus is not limitation, it is liberation. It frees you from scattering your strength and allows you to build greatness. Guarding your focus in today's world, distractions are everywhere, phones buzzing, endless news, constant noise. If you don't guard your focus, it will be stolen from you. Here are 3 practices you can begin today. 1. Create boundaries for your attention. Decide when and where you'll work on your most important task, and protect that time like treasure. 2. Simplify your goals. Choose 1 or 2 key areas of life to excel in, not 10. 3. Remind yourself daily of your vision. Write it down. Read it every morning. Keep your compass visible. Remember, the man who tries to catch 2 rabbits at once catches none. A teaser toward Part 5. By now, you've seen the power of resilience, the courage to begin, and the necessity of focus. But there's another hidden ingredient that turns focused effort into unstoppable momentum: faith. Not just faith in a higher power, but faith in yourself. Faith that your vision is worthy. Faith that unseen opportunities will meet you along the way. In Part 5, we will uncover how faith acts as the bridge between your vision and reality, and how those who believe deeply in their purpose attract forces far greater than themselves. Because focus gives you direction, but faith gives you fuel. Backhand index pointing right. Coming up in Part 5, the bridge of faith. That's your Part 4, 1,000 words. In Napoleon Hill's story-driven style, would you like me to go ahead and draft Part 5, faith, right now so the flow continues smoothly? Part 5, the bridge of faith. There's a gap that stands between where you are now and where you want to be. It is wide, uncertain, and often filled with fear. On one side, you stand with your dreams, your vision, and your plans. On the other side lies the reality you long for: success, fulfillment, purpose. What bridges that gap is not luck. It's not talent. It's faith. Without faith, the gap looks impossible. With faith, every step across feels guided, and opportunities begin to appear as if the universe itself wants to see you succeed. The 2 farmers. There were once 2 farmers living in a valley struck by drought. Both prayed for rain, but their actions revealed their true belief. The first farmer stayed home, complaining about the dry fields. He told his neighbors, "It's hopeless. No rain will come this year. Why even bother planting?" The second farmer prayed too, but then he went out into the fields and tilled the soil. He planted seeds under the hot sun. When people mocked him, saying, "You're wasting your time," he replied, "I believe rain will come, and when it does, I'll be ready." Weeks later, the skies opened. Rain poured down, and the farmer who had prepared reaped a harvest. The one who doubted had nothing but empty hands. Faith is not simply hoping. Faith is preparing for the outcome you desire, acting as though it is already on its way. Why faith matters. Napoleon Hill wrote in Think and Grow Rich. Faith is the starting point of all accumulation of riches. Why? Because faith activates your imagination, sharpens your persistence, and attracts people and resources to your cause. When you believe deeply in your vision, you act differently, you speak with confidence, you make bolder decisions, and you inspire trust in others. Without faith, fear dominates. You hesitate. You second guess. You quit too soon. Faith is the antidote to fear. It gives you the courage to begin, the strength to endure, and the clarity to see possibilities where others see dead ends. The story of the young inventor. Let me tell you about a young man named Daniel. He dreamed of creating a machine that could speed up farm work. Everyone around him laughed. "If it could be done, someone smarter would have already done it," they said. But Daniel had faith. He didn't know exactly how it would work, but he believed it could be done. He sketched designs, tinkered with scraps of metal, and spent long nights experimenting. Many of his attempts failed. His prototypes broke. His neighbors mocked him for wasting his time. Even his family urged him to stop. But Daniel's faith kept him going. He believed that somewhere in his mind was the answer. And sure enough, after years of persistence, he created a working model. That invention revolutionized farming in his community, saving labor and multiplying harvests. If Daniel had listened to doubt, the world would have lost a gift. But because he believed, before there was proof, he turned an idea into reality. Faith in yourself. Faith isn't only about believing in unseen forces. It's about believing in yourself. If you don't believe you're capable, no one else will. Your self-image sets the limit of your achievement. If you see yourself as small, weak, and unworthy, your actions will reflect that belief. But if you see yourself as capable, resourceful, and worthy of success, you'll act accordingly, and life will mirror your belief. I once met a woman named Clara who dreamed of running her own bakery. For years, she told herself she wasn't ready. She said things like, "I'm not smart enough to run a business. I'm just an ordinary woman." Then one day, she read a simple line that changed her life. "Whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right." That night, she decided to act as if she could. She began baking at home, selling to neighbors, and learning the basics of business. Within a few years, Clara owned one of the most loved bakeries in her town. Her success didn't start with ovens or recipes. It started with faith in herself. How to strengthen faith? Faith is like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it becomes. Here are a few ways to build it. 1. Feed your mind daily. Read stories of people who overcame great odds. Their victories remind you what's possible. Point 2. Speak belief into yourself. Replace self-defeating thoughts with empowering words. Say, I am capable. I am growing. I will succeed. 3. Act before you feel ready. Courage isn't the absence of fear, it's action in spite of it. Every step forward makes your faith stronger. Point 4. Surround yourself with believers. Stay close to people who lift you up, not those who tear you down. Remember, faith grows when you practice it. Doubt shrinks when you confront it. The bridge to reality. Faith is not wishing, it is working with conviction. It is the invisible bridge between thought and reality. Without it, your dreams remain locked in your imagination. With it, you cross over into a life that others can see and touch. Every great achievement in history was born from faith. The Wright brothers believed man could fly when everyone called them fools. Edison believed he could bring light to the world, even after 1,000 failed experiments. Their faith turned ridicule into triumph. Yours can do the same. Teaser for Part 6. We've now uncovered resilience, courage, focus, and faith. But there's one final piece that ties it all together: persistence. Faith gives you the courage to begin, but persistence keeps you moving when the road is long and the nights are dark. In Part 6, the final chapter, we will discover how persistence is the iron quality of character that separates those who almost succeed from those who truly do. Because talent may start the journey, but only persistence finishes it. Backhand index pointing right. Coming up in Part 6, the iron will of persistence. That's your Part 5, 1000 words in Napoleon Hill style story format. Would you like me to now write Part 6, persistence, the final part, so you have the full 6-part series completed? Part 6, the iron will of persistence. There comes a moment in every dreamer's journey when the excitement fades. The early passion cools. The cheering voices grow silent. The road stretches long, lonely, and difficult. This is the moment that decides everything. Most people turn back. They convince themselves it wasn't meant to be, or that the timing wasn't right. But a rare few press forward. They refuse to quit, no matter how slow the progress or how many obstacles appear. That rare quality, the ability to keep going when everything screams to stop, is called persistence. And persistence, more than talent, more than luck, is what creates lasting success. The gold miner who quit too soon. There's an old story of a man during the California gold rush. He bought land and equipment, certain he would strike it rich. He dug tirelessly, but after months of effort, he found nothing. Discouraged, he sold his tools and land to another miner. That second miner studied the land and discovered that the gold vein was just 3 feet away from where the first man had stopped digging. 3 feet. The first man had been so close, but he lacked persistence. His fortune went to someone else because he quit too soon. This story is repeated every day, not just in mines, but in businesses, careers, relationships, and personal goals. Most people give up just before the breakthrough. Why persistence wins? Napoleon Hill said, "Persistence is to the character of man as carbon is to steel." Persistence transforms ordinary people into extraordinary achievers. It hardens resolve, sharpens creativity, and attracts allies. The world respects a person who refuses to quit. Persistence doesn't guarantee instant results, but it guarantees eventual progress. If you keep walking, you will eventually arrive. If you keep striking, the stone will eventually break. If you keep planting, the harvest will eventually come. The story of Thomas Edison. Think about Thomas Edison, the man who gave us the electric light. He failed not once, not 100 times, but over 1,000 times in his experiments. When asked how he kept going, he replied, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." Edison's genius wasn't just in his ideas. It was in his persistence. His refusal to quit lit up the world. Now imagine if he had stopped after the first 100 failures. Darkness would have remained, and someone else would have taken his place in history. The everyday power of persistence. Persistence isn't just for inventors or entrepreneurs. It's for anyone who wants a better life. I once knew a young single mother named Angela. She worked 2 jobs, studied at night, and raised her children alone. Many times she felt like giving up on her dream of finishing school, but she persisted. She studied in lunch breaks, read while riding buses, and wrote papers late into the night after putting her kids to bed. Years later, she graduated and built a career that provided her family with stability and pride. Angela wasn't more gifted than anyone else. She simply refused to quit. Her persistence built the bridge to her dream. How to cultivate persistence. Persistence can be learned. It grows stronger every time you practice it. Here's how to build it into your life. 1. Have a definite purpose. Without a clear goal, persistence has nothing to cling to. Define what you truly want. 2. Break it into small steps. Big goals can feel overwhelming. Focus on the next action, the next day, the next step. 3. Expect obstacles. Don't be surprised by setbacks. Persistence means preparing your mind in advance. No matter what comes, I will not quit. 4. Draw strength from faith. Believe that every effort counts, even if results aren't visible yet. 5. Surround yourself with encouragers. The right people will remind you why you started when you feel like stopping. The marathon, not the sprint. Life rewards those who treat success like a marathon, not a sprint. Sprints are about speed, but marathons are about endurance. The sprinter burns out quickly. The persistent runner, steady and determined, finishes the race. The same is true in business, in art, in love, and in personal growth. Those who persist, through rejection, through doubt, through delay, become the ones who eventually cross the finish line. The transformation through persistence. When you refuse to quit, you don't just achieve goals, you change who you are. Each setback endured adds toughness. Each obstacle overcome adds wisdom. Each small win along the way adds confidence. Persistence transforms you into a person success cannot ignore. You become like a river carving through stone, not by power, but by persistence. Your turn now. Pause and look at your own life. Where have you stopped digging just 3 feet from gold? Where have you quit too soon, convincing yourself it wasn't possible? Decide today to return to those dreams with renewed persistence. Decide that no matter how many times you stumble, you will rise again. Decide that you will not quit until you cross the finish line, because in the end, persistence is not just a skill. It is a decision. A decision to keep going, no matter what. The final word. We have traveled together through 6 powerful lessons. 1. Becoming a natural attractor of success. 2. Creating a compass of clear intentions. 3. Planting seeds of resilience. 4. Seeing yourself through the mirror of self-belief. 5. Walking across the bridge of faith. 6. And now, the iron will of persistence. These principles, practiced daily, will transform your life. They are not theories. They are timeless truths proven by countless men and women who refuse to give up on their vision. If you apply them, your success is inevitable. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but eventually. Because persistence always wins. Call to action. If this journey inspired you, I invite you to take the next step with me. Backhand index pointing right. Subscribe so you don't miss more powerful lessons. Backhand index pointing right. Share this story with someone who needs encouragement today. Backhand index pointing right. Leave a comment about which principle spoke to you the most. Your voice could be the spark that ignites someone else's persistence. Remember this: success is never chased. It is attracted. And the one who persists, attracts it all. Fire. This completes the 6-part Napoleon Hill style success journey.